Alright, well I got a new piece of equipment in today here. I've been doing the dry media tumbling ever since I've started reloading, I guess for the last 3 years or so, and I don't know, people go back and forth, and you know, some people say they'll never do the dry media again or whatever, and I don't know, I mean, it's whatever you want to do is fine with me. It's been working fine for me, but I've just decided I want to go ahead and step it up and go ahead and get the wet tumbling, and you know, go ahead and start cleaning stuff with the wet tumbler. And I looked around. I know a lot of people get the Frankfurt Arsenal one. It looked like a really good one. I've seen a lot of people using that one, and I don't know, I decided to do something different. Rcbs, you know, what else is to say? I mean, it's a great company. And I was looking at this one, and this one was actually, at the time I bought it, on sale and cheaper than the Frankfurt Arsenal one. And I used some of my points to get it, so that's always good. But this on sale, 10% off and free shipping. It costs $157.48. So pretty good deal on this, I think. I just got it in. I'm getting ready to crack it open and see what's going on. But you know, I've been using the and I know it's a mess, but I just got the Charge Master. I've been liking that a lot. You can see the Frankfurt Arsenal, the dry tumbler over there. I've been using that, you know, for a few years. So I'm gonna give wet tumbling a try. I'm gonna get started on this, and you can see the breakdown here. What they say: it's got an ergonomic handle, quick locking lid, quiet rubber drum lining. It's supposed to have some kind of rubber in the inside of here, I guess, to make it quiet. Quiet motor, 30 pounds, includes 5 pounds of stainless steel media, and it says it's got a two-year warranty on it. So let's crack this thing open and see what we got here. Alright, I got the package opened up here, and honestly, it's a pretty heavy package. I don't know, I know it's got 5 pounds of media with it, the power cords in there, and then get it out of here. Okay, whoops. Alright, there's the stainless steel pins it comes with, and yeah, this jug, it's pretty heavy duty, and I don't know, hopefully you can tell there's a little bit of color contrast that I can see. Hopefully you can see it in the video, but this is like what you would expect, a hard plastic, and then it's got hopefully that'll come out, but you see where the hard plastic ends, then it's got like a softer, I guess you'd call it rubber right there. There's the hard plastic, and then there's the softer rubber, and the inside of it looks like it's you know, completely lined. Yeah, it's completely lined with that soft rubber, so that's supposed to make it quiet. And it's a pretty heavy, you know, actually it's heavier than I thought it would be for what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the instructions, get some brass, throw it in this thing, and we'll see what happens. Alright, here's some brass. It just came out of my Frankfurt Arsenal, the media tumbler, and I've been using that for a couple years, and I mean, I've had pretty good results. I mean, for the most part, you know, the brass has come out looking pretty good, and you know, even the you know, primer pockets, these right here, this is like fired brass. It hasn't been cleaned. And then this is the brass just out of the, you know, Frankfurt Arsenal media tumbler. And I've been using a combination of like corn cob and lime and walnut media. But, you know, as you can see, I mean, even the primer pockets on these, and this is actually all, you know, I've fired these several times, at least three firings on these. And like I said, this is the unfired, or this unclean, and then this is the clean. So, you know, the it's been doing a pretty good job, but you know, some of the drawbacks is you have to do it for quite a while. I mean, I think I, you know, tumbled these for, you know, easily, you know, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, I don't know, a long time. And they come out pretty clean, but then they have a lot of dust and different things on them. So I think going ahead and getting the the wet tumbler, I'm gonna give it a try and see what kind of results I get. I guess there's drawbacks to both. I mean, these come out dusty, the ones out of the wet tumbler are gonna come out wet, and you got to dry those off. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. I just want to show you that first. Alright, I think I'm finally ready to take the Rcbs wet tumbler here on its maiden voyage. I got the lemon shine. I'm going to put a little bit of just a very small amount of dish laundry or whatever Dawn soap in there, and a very small amount of this. That's what was recommended on the Reloaders Network. When I asked everybody, that's what they did. They basically said you just use a very small amount of this, and if you have soft water, I guess use even a smaller amount. My water's kind of hard, on the hard side, so I'm just going to use they recommend like a 9mm case full, and I may just not even use that much. I may use just like I think I've got a 9mm case in here, maybe just like a 3/4 of a case full of it, just to see, because it can turn your brass pink, and I guess even maybe strip some of the zinc out of the brass if you leave it on there too long, because it's got the citric acid in it. But anyways, I got a lot of this is just some brass that I've had dirty. It's different things, 357, 38, 9mm. I got a few 223s in there, and then this is the range wideners, once fired NATO brass that I did a video on. And this stuff is extremely dirty, extremely dirty. I usually would have to either wipe this off, run it through the dry tumbler for like 2 hours, take them out, deprime them, everything, and then put them back in the dry tumbler for another hour or two. I mean, it took a long time to get these things clean enough to where you could, because as dirty as they are right now, I didn't even want to put them in my depriming dye or sizing dye, because the dirty brass, it can makes little abrasions in your dyes and stuff, and over time it can cause wear and mess them up, and where they're don't work as well. So I try to get the brass as clean as I can get it before I actually run it through a sizing dye or anything like that. I've got a universal LED priming dye that I would usually use on those, but I would still wipe them off before I ran it through there. And even in the dry tumbler, like I said, it took a long time to get those things clean, and they still weren't super clean. So I'm gonna give this a try. Enough yapping. We'll get everything mixing and see what happens. Alright, I got it ready to go, and actually the instructions recommend just doing it first without the pins, and then putting the pins in there and doing it again. I do it without the pins, and you resize and trim and all that, and then put it back in there with the pins to finish it up. But that just seems like a lot of extra steps. I just went ahead and put the pins in there, and we'll go ahead and give it a shot. And this thing, it says in the instructions it's supposed to be quiet, and I've got this little decimal meter here on my phone, as you can see as I'm talking. It's going from conversation to quiet library. So I'm going to turn it on, and we'll see how loud it is according to this. So anyways, it says loud music, so I guess it's not really that quiet. Alright, I'm done here, and this is just a pan I used to separate the dry tumbling media. I just used it on this to separate the stainless steel pins, and there's still just a little bit of water in there that was in there, and there's still quite a few pins left in here. So I guess and the inside of this got pretty dirty, so I guess I probably need to just put all the pins back in there and put a little bit of dish soap in there and just run it, you know, with the pins just to get it cleaned out. But what I did is I ran actually 3 cycles. I ran the first cycle like I showed for like 30 minutes. I dumped the water out. The water was like black, and I looked at the stuff. It was pretty clean, but I thought, well, I'll run it one more time. I ran it one more time. The water was sort of for 30 minutes, same thing. Just put just a little bit of, you know, dish soap like Dawn or whatever in there, and then put just a very tiny little bit more of the lemon shine. Ran it for 30 minutes. When I poured that out, the water was sort of grayish. It wasn't quite as you know, black and dingy as the first time. So then the third time I did it, I washed them, you know, spun them around in here several times, rinsed the water out until it looks like I got most of the soap out of there. Then I filled it up with water. I didn't put any more soap in there, and I just put just a pinch, like just a very small little pinch of lemon shine in there. Like maybe a quarter of a 9mm case, just a small little amount, and ran it just with the water and that in there for the last cycle. And then I poured them in here and just shook them around a little bit and did that. And I got a towel, you know, just kind of went over them like that, trying to dry them off. And I'll have to say it did a very good job. I know there's people, you know, that they say once they start wet tumbling, you know, they'll never go back, and I don't know if I'll go that far. I mean, I'm probably going to have to put this thing up in my garage because I'm in the basement right now, and carrying this thing full of water and however many, I mean, this is over, you know, 200 casings, it's probably closer to 300 or 350. I know I got about 200 223s in there. I've got a bunch of 357s, 38 specials, 300 blackouts. It's just everything I had that was dirty. I just, you know, and then a bunch of the NATO, you know, once fired NATO brass. I can't believe how good that came out, because if you look at what it started out as, like, you know, like this dingy, dirty stuff, you know, started out like that, ended up like that. So and it was a lot less work, really a lot less time than the dry tumbling. So overall, I mean, I'm pretty happy with this. One thing, you know, I'll say, the one time I went up there and rinsed it out, I had a little bit of water on it, and I set it on this, and even though the wheels here are rubber, you know, that turn it, and this has a little bit of, you know, grip on it, still just a little bit of wetness that was left on there. It was slipping, it wasn't turning, so I had to stop it and dry it off, you know, dry it off good, and, you know, put it back on there. But I'll say the advantages of this is obviously, I mean, it is quicker, I think, because normally I'd have to run my dry tumbler, you know, a couple hours to get even similar results. It gets them a lot cleaner. You can do a lot more, you know. I mean, there's no way you can do this much in that Frankfurt Arsenal dry tumbler. I mean, I can maybe do like 200 of the 223s at a time. That's about it. So you can do a lot more in this. You can do it faster, and they get them cleaner. So I'm gonna say I'll never use my dry tumbler again, but I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, since I got this, I'm gonna stick with it. It did a really good job. I'm real happy with the results. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good.